left only because I felt the need to start my production company. That was the only reason. It was
really?
Yeah, a lot of people think it was scandal. People love to say I was fired. It's all these rumors.
So you wasn't fired.
I was never
fired.
It
wasn't the scandal.
It was not a scandal.
It wasn't one of the girls or any of the girls.
No girl ever said Carlos on the show. It was never none of that. But that's the thing, and you know me. Listen, this could be a bad thing or not.
Okay.
I don't feel the need to defend myself publicly.
What Carlos' $10 million lawsuit, the kind that could completely shake an entire online community, just vanished overnight. No dramatic courtroom finale, no shocking testimony, no final explosive moment. Just dismissed. Gone. And now, instead of answers, what we're left with is something even more powerful. Questions. Big ones. The kind that make you stop scrolling and really think, was this lawsuit ever as strong as it seemed? Or was something else happening behind the scenes that we're only now starting to understand? For months, the Love and Marriage Huntsville online community was locked into this story. Bloggers, YouTubers, commentators, everyone was watching closely, analyzing every tiny development like it was part of a much bigger puzzle. Each court update turned into content. Each rumor became a discussion. It wasn't just legal news, it became daily conversation. And the reason it felt so intense is because this case didn't just affect one person. It touched multiple creators, multiple platforms, and an entire ecosystem of voices that thrive on sharing opinions.
Reminded me that you can't focus on the noise of the outside world. And unfortunately, a lot of people do. A lot of people focus on the noise, and a lot of people enter the dark space of the noise to benefit them. And when you are a person who lives your life with good grace, good intentions, and a good heart, no person, place, or thing can infiltrate your life.
This wasn't your typical legal dispute quietly unfolding in the background. This lawsuit carried weight, financially, emotionally, and socially. $10 million is not a small number. It's the kind of figure that immediately changes the tone of everything. For creators, especially independent ones, being connected to something like that is more than stressful. It's potentially life-altering. Imagine building your platform, growing your audience, and then suddenly being pulled into a legal situation that could threaten everything you've worked for. That's the reality many people were facing, or at least preparing for as they followed this case.
All the way real on this podcast today because I am pissed. Robin admitting that she hid her story from the world on the show that pays you is a slap in the face to everyone involved, including the audience. And the fact that you have the audacity to go on your podcast to reveal this. We spent this entire half-assed season with these made-up storylines about Chris Bassett. And yes, I'm gonna say made up because I allegedly was told that a few of the housewives had a meeting before filming about what the storyline was going to be, and that this Chris Bassett stuff was part of that conversation. I've always said there was something off about this season, and now I know what it is. None of y'all are living your real
And
tension.
because so many creators depend on their content for income, the pressure became even heavier. Some started pulling back. Others became noticeably cautious. The energy shifted. The freedom that once defined these conversations started to feel restricted. And all of this was happening before any final decision had even been made. But the part of this case that truly captured attention, the part that kept people talking, was the claim about an alleged organized group known as the Family. According to the accusations, this group wasn't just casually discussing content. They were supposedly working together in a coordinated effort to damage reputations and influence narratives online. Now, if that were true, it would be serious, very serious. But here's where things start to shift. Many of the creators who were associated with this claim strongly denied it. They pushed back and explained that what was being described as an organized group was in reality just a group chat, a space on Instagram where people shared ideas, discussed trending topics, and expressed opinions, something that happens every single day across countless industries. So now the narrative becomes complicated, because where do you draw the line? When does a group conversation become something more, and who gets to decide that?
Have to work harder to get what we deserve, right? And I was such a huge part of that, along with other producers and everybody else involved too. But I moved to Atlanta to do that show, because I was invested in making it #1.
As the case continued, the pressure didn't just stay inside the courtroom, it spilled into real lives. Some creators reported receiving cease and desist letters, which are essentially formal warnings telling someone to stop certain actions, like speaking on a topic or making claims. Even if those letters don't always lead to legal action, they carry weight, they feel serious, they create fear. And fear changes behavior. Suddenly, creators who once spoke freely started second-guessing themselves. Every sentence became something to evaluate. Every video felt like a potential risk. And for some, the safest option seemed to be silence. That's when people started asking a deeper question. Was this about protecting reputations or controlling the conversation? Then, after months of tension, everything changed.
If I had a time machine, I would go back to those moments. Like, I wouldn't do anything to help the world. I would go back to those moments to be in a restaurant and see the table flip. Just a background actor, you know?
Yes, no, listen, it was ahead of its time. And once again, we had no idea it was going to be such an iconic moment that was going to occur. So here I am, again, a junior producer, having the responsibility of making sure Danielle Staub had the book. Danielle wore a little black dress. She hands me the book upon arrival. I'm the only male producer amongst this female producing team. And they said, are you able to handle the book? I'm like, I can do it, but I can't. And this is season 1 back in 2009. There was no breaking the fourth wall. It was unheard of. So I have this book, this hard.
On one side, dismissed the case, just like that. No long trial, no drawn-out conclusion. The decision signaled something clear. The case didn't have enough strong evidence or legal grounding to move forward. For many creators, this moment felt like a release, a weight lifted. Something that had been hanging over their heads was suddenly gone. But at the same time, the dismissal didn't bring total clarity. In fact, it created a new wave of curiosity. Because now, the question isn't just what happened, it's why did this happen in the first place? This situation revealed something much bigger than one lawsuit. It exposed how complex the relationship is between online commentary and the legal system. In today's world, sharing opinions isn't just casual conversation. It's public, permanent, and powerful. Creators influence how audiences think. They shape narratives. They build communities. But with that influence comes risk, because while opinions are protected, there's always a line, and that line isn't always clear. One person's commentary can be seen as another person's attack. And when emotions are involved, especially in spaces like reality TV fandoms, things can escalate quickly. This case became a real-time example of what happens when those lines are tested. Even though the lawsuit has been dismissed, the story may not be over. There's already discussion about potential counter-lawsuits, situations where the people who were originally sued might take legal action themselves. This could be for financial recovery, reputational damage, or simply to respond to what they experienced. If that happens, the narrative shifts again, because now it's no longer just about defense, it becomes about response. And that means this situation, which many thought had ended, could evolve into something entirely new. Another major layer in all of this is reputation. In the online world, reputation isn't just important, it's everything. A single label, a single narrative can shape how audiences see a creator. And in this case, being associated with an alleged organized group carried serious implications. Many creators felt that label was unfair. They spoke out, clarified their positions, and tried to separate themselves from the narrative that was forming. Because once an audience starts to believe something, even if it's not fully accurate, it can be difficult to change that perception. This is the power and the danger of online storytelling. There was also a quieter but equally important concern running through this entire situation: privacy. Legal cases can bring personal information into public view, and for many creators, that's a serious issue. Not everyone who creates content wants their personal life exposed. In fact, many work hard to keep those boundaries in place. So when legal action threatens to blur that line, it creates a new kind of fear, not just about content, but about safety. And in today's digital world, that concern is more relevant than ever. At its core, this entire situation comes down to one powerful idea: the responsibility that comes with having a voice. Online platforms give people the ability to share thoughts instantly, to reach audiences globally, and to be part of ongoing conversations. But that power isn't without consequences. Words matter, narratives matter, and the way information spreads can have real-world impact. For some creators, this experience may lead to more caution. For others, it may build confidence, especially after seeing that not every legal threat holds up in court. But either way, it changes perspective, because now everyone has seen just how serious things can become. The $10 million lawsuit is over, dismissed, closed. But the conversation, still very much alive. People are still analyzing what happened, still debating what it means, still watching closely for what might come next. Because in a space that moves as fast as the internet, stories don't really end, they evolve. And this one, it might just be getting started. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think this lawsuit was necessary, or was it something that should have never happened in the first place? Let's talk about it.